Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday to everybody. We've done it. We have made it to the end of the week. We are here. Yes, I'm a little bit late. So sorry for that. Uh, eh, uh, the thing is, it's not like, I'll be honest with you, it's not like I'm late because I'm just sitting around watching TV. It's these damn kids. It's these damn kids. It's the, did you pick up after this? Did you put this in the laundry? Why is this water bottle here? All this kind of stuff. And then now they make me late. So I apologize, but I'm still in a good mood. And I got a lot to discuss with you. I just called this segment pretty much call this a Friday news dump where I'm just going to unload all the things that I have learned throughout the week and just give it to you. Just give it to you so you go into the weekend as informed, as it is educated as it could potentially be as it relates to your Texas Longhorn football program. Let me hit a quick retreat and then let's get this party started. But happy Friday to everybody. What are we at? Once de Abril. That's right. That's for my Spanish people. hold on. April 11th. Let's get this thing started. So this weekend, they're gonna have a coaching clinic going on at University of Texas. Raheem Morris, who I used to cover in Tampa, is going to be one of the guest speakers out there. Ra used to, I knew Ra when he was an assistant at Tampa, and one of the DB coaches. And then it was like he had this crazy rise where he went from got promoted to like a DC or something like that, and then just a few weeks later, he was a head coach. It was because they got rid of Gruden. So he's going to be there. And I was down there yesterday. I was down there at UT, and they were setting up for this thing. And I mean, it looks like they're going to have just a gang of people out there. I mean, they're bringing in all kinds of chairs, and I mean, they got all kinds of people who are that was there. It was funny because they were asking me, they're like, "Hey, are you here to sign up?" And I was like, "Don't give me no ideas." I'm gonna get I might show up today, just wearing like a Cedar Park hoodie, one of my Cedar Park hoodies and stuff. Get a cap, go to Randall's and get like a cap, and just walk in and be like, "I thought they signed me up." And see how far I can get. Man, they're gonna lock my black ass up. I ain't gonna do that, but they're gonna have that going on this weekend. There should be some sort of a scrimmage of some type on Saturday as well. So they're gonna have that going on as well. By the way, I just want to say good morning to a bunch of people. Jareth was in here. I know Money B, Text Guy 2, Chris Bennett, my dude Rodolfo is in here. Boy, Rodolfo. Michelle Lynn is in here. Sailor Joe is in here. By the way, Michelle and Rodolfo, listen, I'm with you. I just can't. Can we just say this before I get too deep into the show about all the stuff we want to talk about? Can I just say this? If Texas doesn't get another Alabama person in the portal, I won't be mad. If they're from Alabama and they go into the portal, let that just be an instant no. Let's just be an instant no. It has not worked out. Jaleel Billingsley, Amari Nyblack. What was the guy's name? I think it was Ben Ballard before that. And now this. Just say no. Just no. He was halfway healthy throughout the year anyway, and that's that. And we'll see what happens with the allegations, so on and so forth. I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I know we're at an innocent until proven guilty thing. So I'm gonna but man, there's just certain things that the majority of us in life have just never been accused of. And so it just really sometimes it's hard when we have these conversations and innocent until proven guilty, but man, the overwhelming majority of people walking the face of the earth has never been just accused of something like that. Like, you have to be put yourself in some sort of situation to even be accused of it. Like, I don't know, man. Anyway, when the portal opens up next week, I don't want to hear no talk about nobody Bama related. I don't give a damn. Unless it's that like tremendous receiver. And then like maybe I'll he might be the only one. Outside of that, yeah, Ben Davis. Outside of that, we are good on that. Man, Kendrick Black, go down the list. Go down the list. Like, no more. Just no more. Just no more. Just no more. By the way, something for y'all to know. Actually, speaking of that though, I just somebody asked me this a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't have the right answer, but I had to do some research on this. So, but in the spring portal window, when that does open, the SEC does have a rule that states that you cannot transfer from one SEC school to another in the spring portal window. You can do it in December, but you cannot do that in April. So, and I was talking to some people behind the scenes, and they're like, it was almost like a sigh of relief. Like, we don't have to worry about, losing our guys to any of these other programs, that might be in the SEC. So there was kind of this sense of relief. So also know when people come into the portal within the next couple of weeks, and again, try to make y'all the smartest individuals in the room. When someone starts talking about, oh, this guy from Georgia went in the portal, this guy from Bama went in the portal, whoever, just know, like, it don't matter. Texas and nobody else SEC can touch those people. So just kind of let that be. My man T came in. T already know what time it is. He dropped a 10 spot. Shoot, we interrupt the show. We interrupt the show because Super Chats interrupt the show. And Tracy says, hey, man, Tracy got some dough, low key. Tracy, low key, you got some disposable income here, Tracy. What happened, man? You offer child support? You got some extra money? T ain't you don't have to pay child support anymore. You just like, hey man, I'm just gonna pay it on the Super Chats. I appreciate you, dude. What are your thoughts? By the way, Fridays are fun Fridays. It's a Fiesta Friday. So y'all, this is a low key fun day for me. So if you're watching the show for the first time, you're like, why are you cutting up? Because it's Friday, man. We're gonna go into the weekend in a really good mood. What are your thoughts on Texas acquiring a high impact receiver from the transfer portal, comparable to the production they achieved with the portal receivers over the past 2 years? Tracy, I will tell you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. My thought is, it's going to happen. That's the plan. That they're waiting, and as soon as that person goes into the portal, who they feel like, text guy too. that made me laugh. Oh, that's not even talking about no markets. Good Lord. I still feel crunchy. Like, man, maybe I should have sold my house when they had interest rates at like 3%. Because, man, I'm like, am I ever going to be able to sell this thing? But anyway, Tracy, the plan is, yeah, they're going to go hard. They're going to go very hard. And it's at least one impact person, potentially two. That's going to happen. That is an absolute. Texas is not going to stand pat and say to themselves, this, even though they like their receivers, and they do like their receivers. So we're clear. They do like their guys. But at the end of the day, they will go out and they will absolutely get more. So just know that's out there. Ben G come back with a 10 spot. Hey, man, shoot. I got notes, but we can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. You just keep dropping dollars on me. We can talk about life. I don't know what you want to talk about. Tracy said, I have money left from the officiating. Boy, that's God's work right there, being an official, boy. That is God's work being an official. Boy, I could not. Tracy was an official. I totally remember that, right? Him telling me that. Man, I could not. I'm too grown to let somebody yell and have some parents say something to me. I kick every parent. I kick all the parents out the stands. Like, all of the kids are playing today. It's funny though. Benji, go happy Friday in the chat. Give me a solid $10 nugget. Ooh, about the program. A solid. What's a $10 nugget for you? I got a bunch of nuggets. I got a bunch of nuggets. I'm trying to think of something that's new for you that you may not know. Um, okay. So one of the things that I've heard as relates to the running back room, Benji, I've talked a lot about Christian Clark. I did a show about him. I think it may have been last Friday, talking about how good he is. There's a person whose name has come up this week in the running back room, kind of out of nowhere. Has been James Simon. I've heard tons of great things about him this week, and it was interesting because before Trey Wisner spoke to the media yesterday, I spoke to someone earlier in the week, and they told me like, hey, like James Simon is out here balling. Like he's starting to look more comfortable. And they told me like, hey, he's a guy just keep an eye on. And then of course, Trey Wiser talks yesterday, and then he mentions Simon, and I was like, well, hell, that's pretty damn random that actually has come up. But one person described him to me. They said he looked incredible for so far, and also said that they feel like the running back room is stacked from 1 to 5 right now, stacked to the point that they don't necessarily feel like they have to go in the portal in order to get somebody. They feel like they really got those guys, Christian Clark, Jared Gibson, you got the 2 freshmen, and then of course you've got CJ Baxter coming back as well. So they feel really good about the running back room. And James Simon seems to be a guy that I've actually heard his name more mentioned than I've heard Jared Gibson's name mentioned. So that's, if you want to look for a nugget, keep James Simon, just file that away. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm hearing good things about him. What does that mean? It's also interesting too, when we've talked about tight ends, and it's interesting that Arch was talking about some of the tight ends, and they mentioned Spencer Shannon, and I've heard Spencer Shannon's name mentioned a few times this week as well. The name I haven't heard mentioned was Will Randall. So, just file that one away and he Will Randall played with Arch, so he might just be happy just to be here at UT. But that's another one I would just file away. Barb's 10. I mean, we on that 10 spot. All right. Keep it going, fellas. Let's pay the man his money. Give us one thing no one is talking about in spring practice progress, and have a good week. I appreciate you, Barbs. What's one thing no one is talking about? Okay, I'll give you another thing. This news done Friday. Just dumb it. I heard that Khalil Lockett had a really good week this week, in that they're working on his consistency at this moment. Now, I've heard, what I was told was that when it comes to the freshman receivers, Dalen McCutcheon he's the best out of the bunch. Out of Khalil, out of Jamie French, out of Michael Terry, so far he's standing out. Again, it's April the 11th, right? So let nobody trip out. I don't want nobody's parents contacting me today. It's Friday. I don't need nobody's parents, the Locketts, the French, the Terry. I don't need nobody calling me today. They have never, by the way, so we're clear. But what happens to me in these shows is this. This is what happens. This is what always happens. Someone watches the show, and then one person, it ends a telephone game. And so one person says, I was watching Anwar, and he said this. And then sometimes it's, they relay accurate information. Sometimes they relay inaccurate information, right? So then inevitably in the afternoon or something, someone reaches out and and I'm like, no. Or they say, thank you. So sometimes it works either way, right? So I'm just saying, just because Dalen is standing out, in Dylon, as I prefer to call him, but just because Dalen is standing out, doesn't mean that these other guys are trash. It just means that he's so far is kind of the best of the bunch, running with the ones and the twos at this moment. One's as a slot receiver, two as that's crazy. You know what's crazy? My bars on my thing went to 1 and then it went all the way up to 5. Okay. Anyway, anyway. It's crazy. I just have my Spectrum guy out here. There's gonna be. I know that dude who messaged me is gonna say, "I told you I can help you with your internet." There's a guy who sent me a private message, literally last week, and was telling me, "Hey, I can help you with this." And you know, he's like, "Hey, if you," he basically he offered really probably a really his name's Robert offered like a really good idea. He's like, look, I can help you and install the some new install new hardware if you need it or whatever. And then he's like, it may be like in return you just promote like my company. And that's probably a really good trade-off, quite honest with you, right? Like, hey, you promote my company, I'll help you out. Hell, at this point, Robert, I gotta text you after the show because clearly I'm tripping, and so I'm all right. So here's the last thing, Robert. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the last thing, Robert. I gotta be honest with you. When you reached out, and don't take this personal, Robert. But I was like, who the hell is asking to come in my house? I don't like nobody in my house. Who the hell is Robert? He's like it's like some stranger is like, hey man, I got some candy in the van. And some dude is like, hey, I'll come to your house and help you with your internet. I'm like, who the hell are you? So there was a part of me, I was like, I appreciate the offer, but you got him a stranger danger, man. I don't know if you got a van. I don't know what's going on with you. Robert, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. That's just me. But Robert, I'm gonna have to take a risk. I'm gonna send your phone number to somebody just to make sure you don't try to hem up Uncle and have him tied up and stuff like that. But anyway, I think I answered your question. Hopefully, I did. All right. So Tracy says. He says, my disposable income primarily comes from football officiating rather than basketball officiating. Well, you probably get cursed at less in football because everybody goes from one play to another. Basketball officials, though, them dudes get cursed out. Them dudes get Mike Harges, if he's in the house, will tell you basketball officials get cursed because everyone's right here. And who gets cursed out a little. Who gets cursed out too? I see soccer officials do, but the soccer officials, they don't play as much because I've seen the soccer officials in youth sports. They'll tell the coach, hey, if these parents keep talking, I'll go ahead and you guys will forfeit. I'll give it to the other team. So I've seen soccer officials don't play. I've seen soccer officials kick out parents way more than the basketball officials do, or probably football officials do. Soccer officials don't care. They are not the ones. Like they're like. In fact, I had one shot. Hold on, real quick, Tracy. I got a funny story. So we was my son was playing some where were we? It might have been in Florida. So my son's a goalkeeper. Okay. And so if y'all don't follow soccer, it's okay. So goalkeepers, they switch, right? They switch. So I always sit by my son. I don't like to sit next to parents because parents talk, they gossip, they get into all kind of drama. I don't like to sit next to parents, quite honest with you. It's just in general. They always got something to say. And I just like to stay out of that, right? One of my good friends is Doug Williams, used to play with the Washington Redskins, and his daughter was really good at basketball. And this was like years ago. I was like, man, how do you deal with the parents? He goes, I don't sit by them. I go, what? He goes, I always sit by myself. Whenever I go to my daughter's games, I always sit by myself. I don't like to sit next to parents. I was like, I don't like to sit next. So after he told me that, I stopped sitting there. I never sat next to parents after that. So we had a game, and so I sat on one side. So there was another team, and I eventually switched, and there was another team that parent was like causing some chaos on the other side, and like the official was like going to kick him out of the game, right? And then if the guy he goes, well, why is this guy sitting over here? And he said the official's like, well, he hasn't said a word the entire game. You can't stop talking. He goes, well, you need to kick him out too. And the official said, you need to shut the F up. And he said, what? He said, shut the F up, you blankety blank. It was a brother, by the way, who was the official. I was like, and he's like, yeah, I'm talking to you. And I was like, soccer officials are so gangster, Tracy. Anyway, now I'll get to your question. When evaluating the running back room, who is similar to Jaden Blue minus the fumbles? Damn, you had to throw some shade in. That's messed up. Well, you could have just said who's similar to Jaden Blue. You didn't have to throw in that last three words, man. Tracy, that's so messed up. I don't know, quite honest with you, if they have a guy that is that fast, to be quite honest with you, Tracy. I don't know if they have a guy who really meets those requirements that you're talking about, that can really take it to the house that way. You know, now what's interesting is when we were talking about like to Quintravion yesterday, but the one thing he was talking about was he felt like he was actually playing a little bit faster. And really he felt, basically he talked about how he wasn't really making the cuts like he wanted to do last year. And so he feels like he's actually going to play a little bit faster. But to that Jaden Blue, take it to the house kind of thing, that one explosive play and you're gone. I don't know if they have that guy, Tracy. I don't know if Quintravion's like that. And Jarrett Gibson's definitely not like that. Good running back, but he's not explosive like that at this moment. CJ Baxter is not explosive like that at this moment. And I don't know if the freshmen are. Tracy, I don't know if you got a Jaden Blue, quite honest with you. You may have to find something in the portal with a guy who's a receiver that can give you some of that explosiveness. But right now, I don't think that guy's on the roster, Tree. I would just have to say that. I don't think that guy's on the roster. And props to you for everything you do. You're doing the Lord's work by doing that. So anyway, let's get back to some other things. And again, if y'all just want to interrupt the show with a super chat, we can do that. But Arch did meet with the media yesterday. And he went through a lot of different things. And I'll give you some of the highlights if you hadn't listened to his interview from yesterday. But I'll go through the highlights of that. And I want to give you some other things, that's some behind the scenes things as well, as you kind of head into the weekend. One thing just always interesting that he mentioned that he's roommates with Parker Livingstone. That's a file that under your hat kind of thing, because people are roommates and your boys and everything like that. Like, unless Parker's eating up Arch's, food, he's good. Like, it's something that just a file away. As relates to that whole thing. He talked about getting a lot of value from the game reps that he got last season. And said really one of the things he had to learn and kind of get, is like, hey, he just never really played in front of 100,000 people. But that was kind of an adjustment for him.
but he feels like he's been able to learn from that. He also talked about Quinn. He talked about Quinn a lot, and he talked about Quinn. He said something that I thought was really funny. He said it's probably pretty annoying having me as the backup just before the media stuff, but he handled it like a champ, and he was good to me along the way. And he was, and it was interesting because he brought this up a couple of times, and he said he learned a lot from Quinn as relates to dealing with the media and criticism. And as we all know, Quinn got a lot of criticism on this channel on Mondays at 9 o'clock and every day at noon. I'm not mentioning Jeff Ketchum's name, but I'm talking about Jeff Ketchum. A lot of criticism, right? But he talked about just how he basically was able to, he watched Quinn just kind of block that thing out, right? And so once again, someone asked him about, is he ready for like the boos to happen? And I don't really think that Texas fans are going to boo Arch. Like that would be like the ultimate in the WTF, right? But but he did say he's ready for the criticism. They've talked about those things, and he's ready for all that entails. Now, look, when I talk to people behind the scenes as relates to Quinn, and I told you this yesterday, but I thought it was really interesting. I told y'all this yesterday. I put it on my website last night. One of the comparisons that somebody behind the scenes made to me this week was they compared Arch to Josh Allen, the Bills quarterback, and they said, and they were very clear when they told me they're not saying that he's as good as Josh Allen at this moment, but they said when you look at him in practice, the build, the accuracy, the arm strength, the athleticism, that was the closest comparison that they could get at this moment. And again, this is unsolicited, and I didn't ask for a comparison, right? But they went to a Josh Allen comparison. So Josh Allen, if you look at it, he's 6'5", 237 pounds. Manning is 6'4", about 220. And he says his goal is to be about 225 to 230 by the season opener. And we all know that Josh Allen is very athletic. Like he can run the ball. He can throw the ball, but he can also run. And that's kind of like Quinn. And so that's kind of the comparison. And the person who told me this is interesting because the person who told me this is also a person who last year had compared Ryan Wingo to Julio Jones. And when he told me that last year, I was like, all right, man. And he told me this around this time last year. And I was like, all right, man. Okay, man. You going too far. All right, come on now. Julio Jones. All right. But, and I think I told you guys, I didn't really put that out there in the atmosphere because one, he was a freshman, and two, I was like, is this dude just kind of, selling wool tickets on this? What are you talking? But when it's all said and done, that was closer to true, not from a productivity standpoint, but now if you think of protos, that body type, that big, fast kind of body type, you say to yourself, oh, if I have to make a pro comparison, I see that. So when I have to do a pro comparison with Arch, I went, okay. And again, not to say he is that, right? At this moment, like no one's saying he is that at this moment. All we're saying is that's what it could be. All right. So so Arch did have that. He was also asked yesterday about, does he think he'll run less? And the answer to that was, it felt like running is always going to be a part of his game. But his grandfather does tell him that if you do want to have a long career, you have to stop running the ball. Like you can't run the ball as much as a quarterback. Like you got, it's like the Cam Newton thing, right? We all know Cam Newton was a phenomenal quarterback, but he probably could have cut back on the injuries if you just don't run as much. And Quinn had to learn that lesson the hard way as well. Y'all remember, was it the Houston game when he got rocked? And it's at some point you got to tell yourself, bruh, don't do that. You might think you're big. You might think you're big, and you might be. You might be. But you got some killers on the other side that it will be open season on you. And as a quarterback, at the end of the day, you may have that ability, but you might not want to live doing that, right? So he did mention that as well. What are some other things that he talked about before I get into some other small little things I want to tell you about? He was asking about like the public attention and he said like he can't quit doing normal things and um yeah, he's always going to go out and have dinner with his friends, right? So that was kind of cool to hear from him. He did mention, speaking on the running thing, y'all remember that Ohio State game where people were wondering, like, did he get dinged up a little bit? He did admit yesterday that he was dinged up in that Ohio State game. He's like, yeah, man, that guy hit me pretty good. And that would make a little bit more of somewhat of an explanation as to what happened on 1st and goal down there. By the goal line. Now, it will never explain that toss sweep thing that happened, that lost yards, right? But all right, I'm sorry. It's a Friday. I don't want to bring up bad memories. We won't do that, right? But nonetheless, he did admit that he did get banged up in that game, and I mean, I think we all knew that was probably what happened, but that does explain when they got close why he didn't run it. Now, it doesn't explain why nobody else could have ran the ball like one of your running backs, but neither here nor there. It's neither here. It's in the past. It's in the past. We're just going to let that thing go. He did praise Parker Livingstone and Dalen McCutcheon for what they've been able to do this spring. The quarterback room, he does like KJ Lacey. He likes Trey Owens. And I will tell you this, he has actually been really good at his delivery media-wise, but he's definitely shortened up his responses. Because he's learned that from Quinn. Shorter is better, less is more. The more I give the media, the more they have to kind of potentially use against me. So be quick and concise with your answers. It's really he's actually become a professional at answering questions. Because when he first started doing interviews, like I want to say one of the bowl games, like his freshman year when he did his first interview, he talked a lot, right? And I think he's learned like, oh man, you don't want to say all that. You don't want to give these guys too much thing. And by the way, Chris Bennett, does Kirk Bowl now know what drip means? He probably doesn't know. Kirk Bowl probably thinks drip means something in the faucet. He doesn't know. But Kurt Bowles mentioned like his Arch is like a fashion NIL deal, like a clothing NIL deal. And he said, yeah, man, we need to get you some new drip. He looked at Kurt, looked him up and down, said, hey man, we need to get you some new drip. It was actually the funniest line of everything that happened yesterday. And then Kurt asked, like, is there any companies that you would like to do an NIL deal with? Well, it wasn't the greatest question. It was okay. I don't know where he was going with it, but it wasn't the greatest question out there because what he's going to say, I would really like to do something with Pepsi and then I don't know, like I don't know, it's kind of manufacturing a story. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I can say that, Kirk, because I've been in the business for 30 years. So I know you've been in it for a while, but I've been in the business for 30 years. So there's that. Anyway, we'll get off of Kurt Bowles' back. You guys will handle all the Kurt Bowles stuff in the comments, and I know it will be hijacked from there. So you guys have fun with that. The subject of Manning as a trash talker came up a little bit yesterday. And it's really interesting because he said Colin Simmons was the biggest trash talker on defense. People asked him what he says. He's like, I'm not going to tell you that. But it is interesting that I mentioned this yesterday that Arch has now a reputation as a guy who talks smack. And it's kind of interesting because, Quinn is a little bit more introverted. And so he wasn't really not that kind of guy like consistently. So even Sark on Tuesday, I believe it was, talked about how Arch is kind of bringing the best out of the entire team because he's talking trash to guys on the defense, and now the guys on the defense are getting amped up and talking trash to him. And now all of a sudden, like the practices are probably a little bit more intense because everyone's chirping at each other. Quintravion talked about that yesterday as well. And so it seems like from a practice standpoint, what they're able to kind of pull off has been really, it seems like the practices are more amped up nowadays than they ever have been before. So that seems to be a good positive thing. And it's just different. And I don't want it to be a let's dump on Quinn because Arch is better, right? It's like you get your, you start dating someone new and you're like, man, my old girl, she wasn't that, but this person, no, it's just everybody's different, right? And so, or ladies, you do the same thing with talk about the fellas or whatever. Or any relationship, right? I don't want to discriminate or leave anyone out, but nonetheless, like he's like the last person isn't as good, right? So I don't want to be like that, but it seems like the Arch factor is really making a difference. Let's also, so that was kind of mostly what Arch had. He also talked a little bit about Trevor Gooseby. Talked about Trevor being a really nice guy. Talked about Trevor being in a business school. Said they played pickup basketball together. Said he's a good dude. I hope when they're playing pickup basketball that they're not going hard. And it's just like one of those friendly game, like old folk game. Like if we went out there and played pickup basketball, I can tell you that I would not be in a full sprint into anything. I don't full sprint. My youngest son wanted to race me last year. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this one time. And I did race, but I didn't even go as hard as I could because I knew that hamstring was like, oh, for real? Oh, you wanna play around? Oh, okay. I was like, no, hamstring, don't do it. No, please. So I went into a light thing. So I hope all those guys when they're out there hooping aren't doing that. I'm hoping they're not out there doing that. But he talked about Gooseby being a really good dude. It ended up being a really fun interview session. I thought he did fantastic, quite honest with you. Some other things going on behind the scenes. I told you guys about the portal. I told you guys about Khalid Lockett. I told you guys about Dale McCutcheon. I told you guys about the transfer window. I've dropped a lot in here. Someone talked to me about Nick Brooks again this past week. And someone compared him to Kelvin Banks, but they told me it's like not necessarily from a football, like he's as good as Kelvin at this moment, but more so from a maturity standpoint. I did see the Genuine clip. If y'all didn't see it, find it. Genuine trying to jump off the stage. And again, when you're older, you get smarter. You get smarter, man. Like you older, you're smarter about the things you can. And it's like your mind you may think you can do it, but you gotta understand, like this is you at an older version. And Genuine did try to jump off the stage and then he fell down. But the funniest part about that clip, Barbs, was that the person who was in charge of doing the sign language for the show, he kind of looked back and then he laughed a little bit and then he continued signing. But that to me was probably the funny. I'm like, oh man, he's like, man, I still got to do my job. I still got to do my sign language. I can't. The people are sitting here, right? By the way, when people do the sign language for rap shows, it's so awesome. It's so awesome. Just because I'm like, how do you communicate certain curse words in sign language? Like how do they communicate? The MFer did this. I shot him in the blood and the N words. And like, I don't even want to know what the N word is in sign language. I don't even want to know. But like the N words and all the rap words, right? The whole lot, like, and it's signing it.
And it's like, so it's like, imagine like sign language. And like, it's like, if they do it, there's the black person who's deaf is like, you can't say the N-word. Like, but it's in sign, like it was in the music, right? It's a black person and like looking at, black people will be in the car, right? And they'll listen, and and then like so the white person in the car, and it's like they're waiting to see if the white person says the N-word. It doesn't happen in the sign language community as well. They're like, oh hell no, that's offensive, right? Anyway, I'll save that for my comedy routine. When I perform on it, when I perform at a stand-up on open mic night. Anyway, that was just random thoughts. I'm sorry, it's Friday. It's Friday. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Nonetheless, there's a super chat that's in here. We are off the rails. We are off the rails. At least I'm off the rails. I haven't lost any viewers yet, so that part is good. It'll be a lot of unsubscribe. Don't unsubscribe, man. You know what? Seriously, like life is too short, man. Like life is too short to be serious. Like life is too short to be serious. Like things happen, man. People waking up, like the loved ones are dying, friends die. Like life's too short, man. Every day we gotta live it to our fullest. We gotta laugh. We gotta enjoy ourselves. Like, and we gotta be. Sometimes we just gotta laugh and be silly. Where is my man Court today? Where's just another favorites reviewer? He's in Colombia. He has not checked in. He has not checked in. Somebody need to check on him. I want to make sure. I want to make sure my man's not hemmed up. Are you okay? Just another favorites reviewer. Anyway, do you think Arch will get the Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes special treatment from the refs? Penalties could be in our favor. That's fascinating. I haven't thought about that, Calvin. I mean, the short answer is probably yes. The short answer is yes, because you got to imagine that Texas is going to be on TV a lot. All right, just another favorites review is here. All right, just making sure. My man's in Colombia right now. Justin, he's in Cartagena, and I just want to make sure he's okay, because I'm just making sure. Hey, it's like what they call the proof of life kind of thing. I just want to make sure. Okay, I didn't see you. I didn't see it, man. I just want to make sure you're alive, man. I just want to make sure. Well, make sure you didn't go out last night and and see something nice walking down the street, and next thing you got jumped in the back alley, right? I just want to make sure you are good. All right, as long as you're good. I don't know if he's going to get the special treatment, but he might. I think he might. I think Texas will be on TV a lot. I think they're going to be a national talking point, and I think there'll probably be some air of forgiveness for certain things as relates to Texas. So I hope so, because I'm not I don't like to be a huge conspiracy guy. Well, actually, I take it back. I'm a huge conspiracy guy. I don't like to be a huge conspiracy guy when it comes to officiating. But man, some of the calls that Texas received last year was some BS, though. And I try to be objective, right? Oh, you're a reporter, be objective. And I try to be objective. But man, some of the calls they received, they were just some BS calls. So I'm hoping that it goes a little bit better for Texas, and some of the stuff goes a little bit better their way. That's what I wanted to check on. I do have to check. Hey, I'm about to call. Hey, when you coming back? When you supposed to be back, man? You in a foreign land. I just want to make sure you come back safely. I'll sleep easy at night, knowing when you back on U.S. soil, and that you safe, and that you didn't. Like, look at her. She's fine. It's all outdoors. Look at that over there. Hey, mamacita, it's me. What's up? It's me. How you doing? And next thing you know, you in the van somewhere. We over here. He holding up a newspaper and stuff. We got to go there and get caught. Like, hey, we ain't never seen a GoFundMe for a brother.
We try to get $500 for him. We had $250. Somebody help! All right. Anything else, man? Everything else, man, is good. Let me see. Couple other things. I told you about Khalid Lockett. I told you about that. I told Brad Spence has flashed in practice. The Arkansas linebacker has done really well. Is there? Somebody told me that Justice Terry's a little bit banged up. So if you see something over the weekend and you say Justice Terry might be limited, it's okay. Don't freak out because he's still. I think he's going to be all right. And like I said, Spence is right now. He's behind Ant Hill, but looking good, and and he still will be kind of in the rotation as well. I dropped so much. I'll be honest with y'all. There's a lot in here that you need to go back and check on. So, all right, let's do this thing. I'm gonna do checks. South End Zone Queen, how you been doing? How is Chris Bennett been doing? How's your surgery recovery going? South End Zone Queen has had an interesting summer. She's moving back to Austin, which would be great. So it'd be good to see her again. I never get a chance to hang out because I got kids and I can't get out. I can't do anything. I don't know what's on everyone's weekend agenda. I got a kid taking some soccer stuff a little bit tonight, and I think I'm going to take my youngest to go see the Minecraft movie. They said that's fun, so I think I'm going to take him to see the Minecraft. And he's got flag football on Sunday. He's actually he's been pretty good actually. He's did good. So that's a fun time for us. I'll put together some highlight videos of my 6-year-old doing his thing. He's real hyped though. He's pretty athletic actually. Really athletic. So it's fun. But he's 6-year-old, you know what I'm saying? Like it is. But he's hyped. He is super hyped. So that's there. South End Zone Queen, she's coming back here in Austin in June 1st. So the countdown is on for her return. That'd be cool, South End Zone Queen. You just come by. Listen, you just come by the crib. You and your person, y'all just come by the crib and hang out. I got a man cave in the garage, so y'all can just hang out. We can have some drinks there. It's easy for you to find me, since apparently I'm just gonna be letting strangers in my house, let people just do my Wi-Fi who I don't know. South End Zone Queen can come to my house. Everybody just come through. I just open house. Take what you want. It is what it is. Show's done. Y'all be good. You said the root canal is greater than the Minecraft movie? No, my 12-year-old told me it was funny. It don't matter. It don't matter. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm going to leave you on this. When I go to movies nowadays, I don't even finish half of them. Those chairs are them leather seats. I sit back. I start chilling. I start ordering a couple of drinks. I don't make it through. I can't remember the last movie I saw from start to finish. I sit back. I go to movie house and eatery. I sit back and I'm just chilling. Man, I fall asleep. And then I wake up. I'm like, oh man, I guess I got to watch this thing again on Prime and actually see what the hell just happened. Y'all just go ahead and enjoy yourself. Court, go enjoy yourself this weekend. Be good. The rest of y'all enjoy yourself. Be good. I got nothing else for you. And if anything happens this weekend, I'll probably pop on and maybe do a show. Outside of that, I'll see you guys on Monday. Y'all take care. Live each day like it was your last. As I always say, one day it will be. Go out, have fun, enjoy yourself. I'm in a good mood.